Hey guys, it's Faye from Solarflow and I am back with a new video. Today's topic is a deep dive behind the veil energy read on vibrational ascension and the new earth, the so-called new earth. So if this sounds good to you, please stick around, and if not, I'll catch you at another video. So first and foremost, before we get into it, if you are somebody that tends to not watch my videos through in their entirety, first of all, it's okay. Second of all, I can see the analytics and I know that to the shock of some of my diehard subs, not everybody watches the video all the way through. I'm going to say if you're somebody that tends not to, reconsider it with this video, because a lot of very interesting and very valuable information came in, and I do believe that if you actually stick with it and watch all the way through, this video is going to bring first a lot of information on what is going on in the current world right now. What purpose does it serve? We're also going to be looking into the soul's evolution component as well as the so-called new earth's component as well. So it's going to be a jam-packed video, and I'm sure if you stay with it at the end, you will be glad that you did. So even if you have it on in the background while you're folding your laundry or you're cleaning up after your dinner, stick with it. Now, with that in mind, let's get into it. So first and foremost, I'm going to start with this idea of new earth. And as I say with all of my videos, take what resonates and leave the rest behind. And this is going to be a reminder of that, because what I'm going to share herein may not align with some of the things that you have heard other spiritual teachers say. And that's okay. We are all bringing our own particular flavor and our own particular information to the table. But again, take what resonates and leave the rest behind. Now, you might be wondering, if this is not going to resonate, why am I starting with it then? And that is because the information that I'm going to share at the beginning is going to set up, if you will, all of the other information shared throughout the entirety of the video. But it starts with this idea of new earth, okay? So there are some spiritual teachers that have come before me that have kind of shared this idea of there being two earths. There's the old earth and the new earth. And they're two separate, distinct entities. Is that true? Okay. So from what I have seen, no, that is not the case. Is the earth physically changing? Yes. Is she actually splitting into two? No. So this idea of the so-called new earth is not a physical new earth. It's not like a physical new location that we haven't been to before. However, it is a new vibration of earth that we have not been to before. So instead of looking at it like there's going to be two distinct separate earths, an old earth and a new earth, look at it more as earth is going to be shedding some of the older, denser energies, vibrations, and systems to make way for new energy and vibrations to come in. And I'm actually going to compare it to an iPhone. You might have, for example, the hardware of an iPhone 8, but just because you have a physical hardware of an older phone, you can have the internal operating system that's of an iPhone 16, for example. That is very much what is going on here as well. Earth is not going anywhere. There's not going to be like this delineation, like a wall going through Berlin, separating East Berlin from West Berlin. There's not going to be like this split or this divide or this old or this new. It's one earth. It's the same earth. But earth is going to be shedding the older, heavier, denser vibrations. Why is that happening? To make room for new, light, fresh energies and vibrations to come in. Now, this is actually going on for several reasons. And yes, I have notes, so I'm going to be referring to it from time to time. A lot came in, and I want to make sure that I don't leave anything out. All right, so first and foremost, as I have shared in some of my other videos, we, as Earth's inhabitants, are evolving and ascending with Earth. We are her inhabitants, and this is our home. So there's no reason for us to leave Earth and go somewhere else if we're a vibrational match with her. How do you know there's no need for us to go someplace else? Because we're still here. There have been a number of catastrophic events that have happened throughout mankind's history that have wiped out either large percentages of the population or large percentages of the animal inhabitants that have been here as well, right? Even if you don't take the religious component into it, if you don't say there was somebody named Noah and he had an ark and he took animals and any animal or any inhabitant that was not on his ark died. That's a religious exploration of it. But even if we don't take the religious exploration into account, there have been plagues that have destroyed a great number of the population on Earth. There was, what did they say wiped out the dinosaurs? There was, me and of course forgetting names of things. There was things that fell from the sky onto the Earth that changed the biome and the sea, the whatever, that wiped out all the dinosaur population. There could be another ice age that could wipe out the entire Earth's population. So while we are looking at the physical expression of things that have happened on Earth, there's a vibrational undertone that was causing those things to occur on a three-dimensional level. How do we know this to be? Maybe you've seen this on TikTok. Maybe you've seen it on YouTube. Maybe you've done it yourself. You can take a plate of sand, and then you can put on in the background certain vibratory sounds, and those vibratory sounds will change the physical shapes that the sand is going to make. So what is going on a vibrational level is there's a different tone introduced, but that tone is influencing the shape of things on a three-dimensional level. So we're still here, and that's because we are evolving with Mother Earth, and she is evolving with us. Because if we weren't, either we would not be a vibrational match, and maybe we would be burned up in a solar flare, or maybe there would be some detrimental experience on Earth that would wipe us out. We're still here on Mother Earth. We're still here on Mother Earth because we're a vibrational match for her as she is ascending, and she is a vibrational match for us as we are ascending. So that's why there's no need for us to go to a totally separate place. We're a vibrational match. It's not like the old dense energy is going to stay behind in the old Earth and the new vibratory energy is going to go to the new. No. New Earth is the same Earth. It's just a different vibration. It's just a upgraded iOS internal operating system, if you will. We're still here. That's how you know we don't have to go anyplace else. There's no new Earth. We have one Earth. We're on it right now. It's not to say that it's not going to change on a very, very fundamental level. It's just to say that this idea of there being a totally separate other Earth location, I have not seen that. Now let's explore some of the other reasons why this is the case. If you look around at the world, you'll see different physical expressions of vibrations, such as through architecture, homes, industries, parks, gardens. And whatever you see and the people that you see living in these places, it's because they are a vibrational match for the location that they are in. So for example, you wouldn't see, I can't speak for where you particularly live in your place in the world, but I'll use, let's say, where I live in California for an example. You wouldn't see project-like buildings being built in the middle of Beverly Hills. And what are project buildings? Those are like those small apartments, many of them crammed into buildings, floor after floor after floor, all the way up on a lot with a lot of other buildings like that as well. It's built for efficiency, but it's not built for anything else. It's not built for beauty. It's not built to be inspirational. It's built to put a roof over a head. And the people that live there are a vibrational match for it. But you wouldn't then, for example, see those buildings being built in the middle of Beverly Hills. Conversely, you also wouldn't see those buildings being brought down. You wouldn't see one of those buildings being brought down and one person building themselves this big palatial house for one person. Because again, it's not a vibrational match. How do we know? Again, go back to the tones and the vibrations that are made and how that's going to influence the three-dimensional expression of those vibrations. Sand on a plate. Different vibrations will create a different physical expression. This is the same exact thing. So if you want to know what vibration a location is, whether that's a city, a state, a town, Earth as a whole, look around and observe what you'll see. And that's how you'll know what the vibration is. Now, while you might be tempted to, for example, then look around at Earth right now and say, the vibration of Earth right now is really, really bad because look what's going on in the three-dimensional world. It's actually the opposite. The so-called failures that we see playing out in the world right now are actually a success. And I'm going to explain that to you. But I'm going to explain it by bringing in some examples. So let's say a friend got a new car. They're excited. They come over, they want to show you their new car. But it's not so much the new car they want to show you. They want to show you the new sound system that they put into their car. So in the trunk of their car are big subwoofers. And these are the kind of subwoofers that when they turn the volume up, it's causing the entire car to vibrate. And it's not just causing the entire car to vibrate, it's causing you inside to vibrate too. Like your hand is on the armrest, and as the subwoofers are turned up and as the volume is turned up, because he's so excited to show you the new sound system, your hand is bouncing around on the armrest and your teeth are shaking together. This is exactly the same thing that is going on. But what is the actual volume that is being turned up? It's not a physical volume on the physical sound. It's a vibratory one. And what is actually turning up? What is amplifying the volume? We are. It is our ascension that is causing this energetic vibration, this energetic lift in the volume, if you will, to where the changes in the world are not just occurring on a sound level, like you're not just hearing the sound in the car, you're seeing the actual vibration that's caused by the amplification of the sound. That is what we are seeing going on in the world right now. It is not an auditory expansion. It is a physical expansion in the three-dimensional world. Your friend is so excited, they want to show you their new car and their new sound system. It's not enough. Your friend doesn't just want to hear the music, he wants to feel the music. And how does he feel the music? By turning the amplification up and causing that physical vibration. Here's another example I'm going to give you. So imagine, if you will, you are in a library. You're in a very, very old library. This is like, I don't know, like a 500-year-old library, like in Italy or something. Not something that we would have in the United States. And let's say you're in the library while there's an earthquake that's going on. Maybe it's a small earthquake. So what's the physical expression of the smaller vibration playing out? It might be, for example, there's a book with some dust on it, and there's a small earthquake, and you can see like the dust kind of like jumping around on the book, right? It's a smaller vibration. Let's say there's a bigger earthquake in this library. And then what's the physical representation of that stronger vibration playing out? You might see, for example, some of the books falling off of a bookcase. But let's say you're in this library when there's a really, really big vibration, a really, really big earthquake. What's the physical representation of that really, really big earthquake playing out in that library? It might be, for example, where all of the books are falling off of the bookshelves. It might also be where entire rows of bookshelves are just they're falling down like dominoes, one on top of another. It might be where you can see there's new cracks in the foundation. You can see it in the wall. But maybe because all of these bookshelves have toppled over as well, you can see, wow, wait, there's been cracks in the foundation of the floor that we haven't seen because it's been covered up by these big bookcases that haven't moved in centuries. And maybe in part of the cleanup, the librarians are starting to realize, well, this is just an old book. Or we're missing so many hundreds of books we just never even realized before. There's so many great new bestsellers that are out. We want to bring those new bestsellers in and not just hold on to the old books of yore. So this is what is very much going on in the world right now. But what is causing these earthquakes, if you will, what is causing these vibrations to occur is the rising consciousness of a soul and energetic level through each individual person's ascension. So we are actually causing, if you will, these earthquakes. But it's not affecting the earth per se. It's affecting all of the three-dimensional things that we see on earth right now. And why is that happening? Through our ascension, through our elevated consciousness, and through our elevated vibration. Through our ascension, it is causing these cracks in the foundations to appear. So, the disruptions that we are seeing in the world right now is the energy, the old stagnant energy, being shaken so that they can come down. Those books have been on the bookshelf for hundreds of years. They haven't been taken out. They've got to come down so that we can see the cracks in the foundation that haven't been seen for hundreds of years, and so that new, fresh energy can be brought in. These books are from the 1800s. There's some great books that have been written more recently. We want to bring those energies in. So this is very much a time to pull everything down. This is not a time to wipe the dust off of the books. This is a time to bring every damn thing down, to replace the truly damaged copies of the books, to replace what's been missing, and to bring in new energy as well. So while yes, the world may feel and seem like it's going crazy at this time, it's a necessary shakeup for the old systems and institutions, but for humanity as well. Because we have been asleep for so long. We have been programmed by Mockingbird Media, and many of us have been practically comatose. So here's another example I'm going to give you. Let's say you're just starting to fall asleep. It's not going to take a lot to wake you up. Maybe you'll hear a car honking a horn outside, and like that, you'll be woken up. But let's say you're deep into sleep. You're in the REM phase of sleep. At that point, an external noise outside your home may not do it. You may need, for example, to be shaken awake. You're like in the deepest of deep sleep at that time. You need to be shaken awake. But let's say somebody is in a medically induced coma. That honking on the horn's not going to do it. Shaking that person's probably not even going to do it. What you might need is the equivalent of like a medical intervention to take that person out of the medically induced coma. What might that be? That might be those subwoofers in the car being amplified and turned up so much that there's a undeniable physical vibration that is shaking them awake. So what we're actually seeing playing out in the world right now is for the comatose people. It's not just for them. I'm going to talk about that. It's for us as well. It's for everybody because we're all having this shared experience right now. And again, go back to what I had said before about things being a vibrational alignment. If we're here and we're having these experiences as well, it's for us as well, whether we're awake or not. But it's fulfilling different things for the people that are already awake versus the people, if you will, in like the nosebleed section in the back. That's actually a really good example. So let's look at it this way. Let's say you're at a concert. You are right there, front and center. You are in the very, very, very front row, and you can see the sweat dripping down the performer's face. But there's someone way, way back in the nosebleed section. They are so far back that they can't see the performer. They see them maybe looking like a little blip. So in a case like that, that's why these concerts have these really, really big screens. So that way the people in the nosebleed section can see the performer on stage. They can see them performing, even if they're like a really tiny blip from their perspective in the seat that they're in. But what also happens is that the amplification of that person's image is not going to be quite so clear and so crisp. So that person in the nosebleed section, they may be able to see the actual performer now, but there's a distortion in the quality of the screen. So where you in the front are able to see the actual sweat, they can see the face, but they don't see the sweat. It takes a lot more because of the distortions, if you will, or because of how deeply somebody is asleep, if you will. It takes more to wake them up. They're in a medically induced coma. That's a big difference than you've just fallen asleep and you could probably even hear like an ant crawling on the floor next to you, right? That person in the medically induced coma isn't going to have the same experience. It's going to take a much larger and bigger intervention for them to wake up, for them to see what you see. The person in the back can't see what you see. So what's going on the world stage right now is for the benefit of the people that are those die-hard fans in the back. They have the season tickets to the nosebleed section. They've got the very, very last seat in the entire fucking arena. They are so committed to their team. They are so committed to their version of reality that they are in, that they bought tickets. They've got the very, very, very worst seat, but they're so committed that they are there at every single game, even if they can't see shit. That's how committed they are to their team. It's the same thing. There are some people that are so committed to their understanding of the way that the world works right now. They are the season ticket holders of the nosebleed section. So for those people, it's going to take a lot more playing out on the world stage to get them to wake up than it is for the people that are sitting in the very, very front row. It's my favorite team. I just want to see them play. I'll save up for 2 years to get front row seats so I can see my team play. We're maybe not as committed. So we're going to see the cracks in the foundation more easily than someone is a die-hard fan in the back, the season ticket holder. This is the exact same thing. So it's going to require somewhat more of a medical intervention, if you will, to get these people to wake up. So while we in the front row, who are not the die-hard fans, if you will, let's say, for example, you're at a sporting event. Maybe you have like your one favorite player on the team, right? I'll give you an example. So when I was younger, I was very, very into sports, and of course, the Bulls were my favorite team. MJ was my favorite player. Did I care so much about the other players, right? Okay, Scottie Pippen, sure. Did I really care about anybody else in the starting lineup besides for like MJ and Scottie Pippen? So for me, I might be on the floor having saved up to go to this game to watch them play. I'm not going to necessarily criticize like MJ, but like I might criticize the rest of the team as a whole. But those die-hard fans, they don't care. They've got the very, very worst seats in the back. They're committed. They're going to support their team. They can't see the flaws the way somebody who is up in the front, not quite as committed, they're not going to see those flaws. So while we in the front may be tempted to look around at the state of the world right now and with contempt say that it is failing, it is the failures that are the actual success. Because if not for everything being exposed and coming down, how can we then rebuild? So look at it this way. This is a fast track exposure for those in the nosebleed seats. They can't see what we can. They are committed to supporting their team no matter what, even if they have a limited view of what is going on in the world. So everything is being amplified for their sake in the nosebleed section right now. But here's the wild thing. We in the front row are causing everything that is going on in the world right now. It is through our own ascension that we are causing this amplified vibration to occur in the world. And as more and more of us continue to ascend, the amplification of a vibratory level will continue to manifest in the three-dimensional world, and it will continue to show up in more and more obvious ways. Now, this is what also was shown to me, that this is actually what it means by that expression, nothing can stop what's coming. It's not just a catchy tagline. Nothing can stop what's coming, because Nothing can. Our evolution and wake up is inevitable, which will then in turn continue to cause stronger and stronger vibrations akin to stronger and stronger contractions, causing more and more exposure of how broken the old systems are, causing therefore more and more further cracks in the old foundation as they continue to be exposed. And with the continued exposure of the old systems being corrupt and broken and rotten to their core, more and more people will continue to wake up, causing more and more of these elevated vibrations and amplification and stronger contractions. Nothing can stop what's coming. And why can nothing stop what's coming? Because as we continue to evolve and ascend and wake up, cracks in the foundations are appearing, which will then in turn expose the further corruption to more and more people who will continue to wake up. And then through their own personal evolution and expansion of their vibration will continue to cause more and more expansions of the cracks in the foundation. Literally like dominoes falling. That first domino has already been kicked off. That first domino has already fallen. You cannot stop the dominoes from continuing to fall at this point. Another way of looking at it is like a genie in a bottle. Once you rub that lamp, that genie is coming out. You can't be like, haha, false alarm, I don't really have a wish right now. That genie's been released. It's gonna be like, your wish is my command right now. I'm not going back in until you give me your wish, lady. So that is why nothing can stop what's coming. The genie cannot be put back into the bottle. It's done. Our ascension is guaranteed. And those that chose on a soul level not to be here for the new earth, another way of saying it is those that are not a vibrational match for where we are going, they are the souls that we are going to see leaving the earth right now. So on a soul level, look at it this way. Anybody that is on earth right now, it is because we chose to be here. We wanted to be here to see the old systems come down. Some souls maybe said, you know what? Till here but no further. It's going to get gnarly. I don't particularly want it to get gnarly. I'm going to peace out before then. So those souls might be the souls that are leaving already. But what if there's also some souls that prior to their incarnation, they were like, okay, yeah, we get it. We hear it's going to get gnarly. I want to see the evidence of how gnarly it's going to get before I decide if I want to cross over or not. So those might be, for example, the really, really committed fans. They've got the season tickets in the nosebleed section. So it's going to take a lot more for them to see what's going on because they're really committed to their team. And because they're so far back, they can't see what we can see if we're right there up in the front, right? So it's going to take a lot more for them to be convinced that maybe their team is not so great. I.e., maybe it's going to take more for them to be convinced in either direction. Either they might be like digging their heels in and saying, no, my team is the best. I will go down with my team. I will die with my team. Those might be the people that we're going to see leaving. But what if those are also people that are given the opportunity through this expansive period and through all the contrast that is being introduced into the world right now, that those are the people that are going to be saying, you know what? It is getting kind of gnarly right now. I'm going to disconnect from the 3D. Maybe my team doesn't mean as much to me as I thought it did. Maybe I'm going to go to church on Sunday instead of going to the game. Maybe those are the people that are going to have a renewed sense of faith. Maybe it's going to be in an organized religion, but maybe it's going to be in spirituality. Maybe those are the people that are going to be kind of looking at the world and saying, you know, I don't know, it is getting gnarly here. I'm going to move out of the city. I'm going to go buy myself a plot of land in the country somewhere, and I'm going to homestead. I'm going to have my internet. I'm going to work from home. I'm going to homeschool my kids. Maybe I'm going to have some cows. I'll have my own milk. I'll have some chickens. I'll have my own eggs. And I'll live a simple life out of the city. So through the contrast that is being created in the world right now, it is giving everybody the opportunity on the most micro individual level to the most macro on a societal level to start to pick through all of the experiences that they're having in first and foremost deciding, am I going to dig my heels in and go down with my team? Am I going to die with my team? Am I going to die saying they're the best even though they're not? Or am I going to say, you know what, my time supporting this team is done. I'm not going to go to the game on Sunday. I'm going to go to church instead. All of the experiences that are playing out in the world right now are caused by us and are caused for us. That is to me the wildest thing in all of this. So everybody is given a choice right now. Yes, even those people in the front that are awake. I'm going to get to that too. But the people in the back are given a choice to wake up or to continue to die on the cross with their team, so to say. Now, this is also why another expression was shown to me as being particularly notable and particularly true, which is why the expression, where we go one, we go all, is true. Because here's why. We are either all waking up, and therefore we are all going to be an energetic match for Earth, and where she goes, we go. Where we go, she goes. So again, where we go one, we go all. Or those people that are not going to be a vibrational match for where we are going, those are the people that we're going to see crossing over. Some of them have already started, and there's going to be more people crossing over as well. Because they are not a vibrational match for where we are going. Where we go one, we go all. Now, another thing was also shown to me is that the reason why Earth is not physically going to split off into two distinct Earths, old Earth and new Earth, is for two reasons. So first and foremost, there's going to be the remains, if you will, of old, that's where it gets tricky, right? Not old Earth. Here, look at it this way. We have fossils of dinosaur bones. So from those fossils, we know that dinosaurs once existed, even if the dinosaurs are no longer alive right now. So another reason that there's not going to be two separate and distinct Earths is so that we will have the fossils, if you will, we will have the remains, if you will, of the old systems that have come down for the people that are arriving to the party late, but they want to see it. Okay, I just got to the party, but I want to see, all of the beer bottles that are laid out. I don't want the party to be cleaned up. I want to know how many people were here. I want the play-by-play. I want to know how many people were here, who got so sick that they vomited on the sofa. I want to see the evidence of the party. There's going to be people that are waking up. Look at it. They're, late to the party. Those are the people that there's going to be the remains, if you will, the retroactive breadcrumbs of the old establishments that are evidenced for them to see, so that should they decide to wake up and should they decide that they want to see these things, because again, free will reigns supreme, not everybody is going to want to see it. Not everybody is going to want to see everything. But those people that want to, there's going to be the fossilized dinosaur remains, if you will, so they can see evidence of these old failed systems. But the dinosaur is not alive anymore. The old systems won't be functioning anymore. There's just going to be the fossilized remains of it. So that's on the one hand. It's going to act as a retroactive red pill for the people late to the party that want to see it. But the other thing that was shown to me is that in the future, when we are aligning with all of the different components and aspects of our particular gifts and abilities, this is going to give us an opportunity to align with all of those different abilities and gifts and to make a contribution on a societal level in alignment with what those things are. I'm going to explain what that means. So I'm going to use the iPhone as an example again. Let's say there's a person that has the iPhone 8. They have the physical iPhone 8, but their operating system is at a 16. So the internal operating system doesn't necessarily match the old antiquated phone, but the phone operates fine. So in the future where we're going, we might have the equivalent of the iPhone 8 phone with the iOS 16. But let's amplify that. So it's an iPhone 8, but the iOS is now 100 or 1,000 or 10,000. We cannot, where we are now, understand what that's going to look like. It's like the person who had the very, very first iPhone number 1, there's no way holding that first iPhone that they could ever imagine how the iPhone was going to evolve and to be the way it is right now. So too, we also, with where we are at a current vibratory rate, can't understand the way that the world is going to be. But I can tell you that it's not going to be where there's going to be the over-attachment to things of a three-dimensional nature, because all of our gifts and abilities are going to be coming in. So the way in which we are looking at people is not only through our three-dimensional eyes. So we're not judging the nature of a person on the character or their character on what kind of car they drive. We're not going to be looking to see the person has a Maserati, so they're somehow more valuable or meaningful than the person who's driving the old Toyota Corolla. We're going to be seeing people on a soul-to-soul level. Similarly, too, the way in which we contribute to the world is not going to be in a way that it is now. And I've shared this before, that there's going to be a renaissance, the likes that we have never seen before. So the contributions that we make are going to be very, very different. And it's not going to be utilizing perhaps skill sets days of yore, like this person is a really good bookkeeper, or this person is a really good driver. It's going to more be what is the gifts and abilities that this person has. What do they feel called to that they're going to make a meaningful contribution to humanity? So, for example, it might be there's somebody that's very, very much connected to marine life. So they're going to want to go into the water, and they're going to want to go to where there's been a lot of garbage and dumps and things of that nature, and they're going to want to, free the marine sea life that's stuck in the debris of the ocean. There might also be people that are going to be like, you know what, my connection is not necessarily to marine life, but I want to clean up the oceans as a whole. Then there's going to be people whose contribution might be of an architectural nature. So they're going to go into these old neighborhoods where there are these old projects that were built just for efficiency, but not beauty, not meaning, not to be inspirational, but to be practical. And they're going to look at these buildings and they're going to revision something that is of a beautiful nature, where people can live, maybe more connected to even nature, where they can live in these buildings, and maybe it's going to even house the same number of people, but they're going to be beautiful buildings. They're going to be inspiring buildings. They're not going to be like these old decrepit buildings with the roaches, crawling through the walls. They're going to have big, beautiful windows. The person is reimagining. It's going to be those big, beautiful windows where you can see sunrise on the east side, and they'll see sunset over here. And then there's going to be this outdoor gardening terrace. Whatever the person's contribution is, they're going to come into the world. They're going to reimagine it with the gifts and abilities that they already have. Maybe it's going to be people that are going to do gardening. They're going to go into these parts of these neighborhoods that are so old and decrepit, that have been, abandoned, and they're going to take those buildings down and they're going to build these beautiful gardens for everybody to enjoy. Maybe there's going to be artists. And crazy as it sounds, again, look back to the iOS first version of iPhone. Those people could not, maybe it's even you, maybe I didn't have the first version, but if you did, could you have imagined the way in which our phones have evolved and the capabilities that they currently have? So too with where we are currently, as much as we are evolving and ascending, we cannot yet imagine a world in which our contributions will be based on our gifts and abilities, and not just on the education that we have or the skill set that we have in a three-dimensional. There's going to be a renaissance that we have never seen before in music, in art, in architecture, in the cleanup of the world. That's another reason why we can't split into two separate and distinct worlds, because then there would not be the ability or the opportunity for the people that want to contribute using their gifts and abilities to do so. We're not going anywhere from Earth because we need the fossil bones of days yore, of old, broken, corrupt systems to come down, so the people late to the party can see it, and then thereafter we can all contribute in a very meaningful way to the cleanup and the restoring of Mother Earth. And another thing that was actually also shown to me is, let's say there's people who have a strong desire to lead. Like we have seen now, many people that have never been involved in government before have suddenly, come to the table and have started to run. There's a lot of people who have never been involved before. So we're seeing kind of like the end of the career politicians and those people that are late to the party coming and saying, I want to contribute for the right reasons. Not because I want rights that are afforded to me but not to the rest of the world. Not because I'll have, let's say, insider trading. It's for the people that want to make a meaningful contribution but for the right reasons. Again, it's the librarians in the library having the opportunity, now that all the books have come down, to say, you know what, these books are hundreds of years old. We want to bring in new, fresh books and new, fresh energy. But without the complete destruction of it all, there would be no room for new faces and new energy. So every corrupt politician has to be revealed so that they can step aside or be taken aside. Every talking head on TV has to be revealed for who they're in the pocket of. You want to know who they're in the pocket of? Just look at who is sponsoring the commercials. You want to know why they're saying what they're saying? Look at who's sponsoring it. So every talking head has to be revealed for being in the pocket of some sponsor so that they can stop talking. All the poisons of Big Pharma have to be revealed so that true healing can be introduced. And there's a lot of people with gifts and abilities that pertain to healing. Those systems have to get out of the way so people can make a meaningful contribution through their healing abilities and healing modalities. So it all has to come down and come out. This is not a time to continue to put Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid while the original injury is festering and is infected underneath. But we don't want to see what's underneath, so we're just going to put another Band-Aid on it. No. This is the time for all the Band-Aids to come off so that the original boo-boo can be treated. Get some fucking antibiotics in there. If you have to fucking amputate it, amputate it. This is the time. And again, this is all happening for us and by us. Now, what was also shown to us, what was also shown to me, is that so we spoke about like the people that are in the back, right? The people that are late to the party. So there's a lot of contrast being introduced in the world right now for them so that they are given the opportunity to wake up. But we're still here too. So why are we experiencing the contrast that we are experiencing at this time? We already know, we already see. Why do we need the continued contrast? Here's why. So again, the contrast is being created by us and for us, right? It's being created by us for the people late to the party, but it's also being created by us and continuing for us, and here's why. This is giving our souls the opportunity to sift and sort through all of the experiences and to be refined by it and through it. And what was shown to me is a sculptor. So imagine, if you will, there's a sculptor. He has a big hunk of nothingness. And early on, as he is starting to chink away at it, we can't tell what he's working on. I don't know if it's going to be a man, a woman, a whale. It's just a big hunk of nothingness. But as he continues to chip away at it, there's a shape that is starting to be revealed. No, and I'm not insinuating that we're nothing, except on the other side of this whole experience. I'm getting there. You'll see what I'm getting at. So in the beginning, there's a big chunk of nothingness, and still he starts to work and slowly chips away at the nothingness to start to create a somethingness. So from what is going on in the world right now, this is giving us the opportunity, again, through our evolution and our ascension, to create a new somethingness as well. So as the sculptor is chipping away, more and more pressure is being applied to what he is working on. So now it's not just a hunk of nothing. It's not a hunk of junk. You're starting to see it's a sculpture of a person, and it's becoming much more refined. And whereas before there was nothing, now you can see the face, and you can see the cuts in the jawbone. You can see the nose. You can see he's even doing like a tear duct on the inside of the eye. You can see the details that were once not there, that were once covered up, is now being revealed. So through this experience, there are different parts of ourselves that are also being revealed. It's because as the sculptor is getting into the different nooks and crannies, he's making different points, there is an increased sense of pressure as he is refining the sculpture. That is why there is so much contrast right now, even for those in the front. This is giving us an opportunity to become more and more refined on a soul level. Let's take it back to the iPhone version I was talking about before. Let's say you've got an iPhone 10, but for some reason you still have an iOS 1. So it's a new expression of the body, but it's an old operating system. So what might we be holding on to that is antiquated, that's an old version of ourselves? It's an old story that we've told about ourselves. It's an old belief system that we're holding on to. It's the equivalent of having the iPhone 10, but having an iOS 1. This is our opportunity through the contrast that is being created in the world right now, again, by us and by our ascension, to continue to examine those old antiquated beliefs that we may have so that we can leave them behind. What do we want to take as we ascend? What do we want to take as we evolve? Do we want iOS 1? Or do we want to go into the new world unencumbered by all of those old antiquated beliefs and stories? By those old identifications? By the old things that are no longer really aligning with who we are? This is again the time to not just wipe off the dust from the old books. This is the time to, like those dominoes, throw all the bookshelves down so that we can see all of those crevices and all of the previously unrevealed cracks in the foundation, not just of the world, but in ourselves as well. That is what the world and the contrast is providing for us right now too. That just like we are seeing the physical manifestation of the vibrations that we are causing in the external world right now, it is for our continued evolution and soul's expansion as well. Just like the old world is coming down to begin anew, this is the opportunity for old parts of ourselves to be chipped away so that we can reveal the fullest extension of our soul's evolution and growth. The old parts of ourselves are not a vibrational match for where we are going. So let it go. Seriously, let that shit go. So as always, guys, I hope that you have found this video to be interesting and thought-provoking, perhaps inspiring in some way. For you to continue to, as I always say, stay in the high vibration, because it is through our staying in our own internal high vibration and continuing to expand it that we are continuing to create the destruction of the old so that we can build anew. But not just in the world, but in ourselves as well. Because where we are going, those old parts of ourselves are not a vibrational match. So as always, guys, take what resonates, leave the rest behind, and stay in the high vibration.